We should seriously do the Reese's Challenge thing again, though. How many do you think you can? Big cups, not the little ones, the big cups. 8. Was it 8 or 16? 5. Okay, so I think you did 17, I did 16 then. Big cups, I think I'm in for 10. 10 big cups, though? Those are like... No, the big guys. I could down 10 of those. You'd have to do it on the weekend, though, because, you know, I'm done. That'll just wrap it up. Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, a special recorded edition for a Wednesday, because we're ahead of schedule. We got everything done here today, so we thought we'd get this thing out to you, teach you a little bit about the markets, and get everything rolling here. An exciting day in the stock market, actually. Before I do that, I just want to promote the research site real quick. If you want to join, you can. It's $13 a month. Just specific to research, education, knowledge that has to do with things that are currently happening. Right now, we've got lessons on the earnings stats that we've posted on there. So you can see how that kind of works when we post stats about earnings, because there's a lot of them this earnings season. We published the trading strategy wine and wealth class that we did for clients. We actually made that public to research members as well. So if you want a trading strategy, start to finish, go through all that. We kind of went through the details of how to look for pullbacks and exact entries and things like that. Also, did a cool post on the transportation industry there on how to break it down so that you know which area is leading. The transportation industry is actually a kind of interesting area where I won't give it away, but there's two different ways you break it down. You can actually see the performance. So we did a little bit of a study for you there so you can see if you're participating in airlines and FedEx and UPS and the truckers and things like that. You know what's going on. Off to the markets here today. Yeah, slight down day, you know, as far as the S&P goes. The Dow was a little bit higher. It's now up 11% year to date. Here is the Dow just trucking along, looking good, doing its thing. Goldman Sachs was your biggest contributor today because of earnings. We'll cover that here in a little bit. Interestingly, JP Morgan did finish down. I'll cover that in a second for you. You got the S&P 500 up about... up about the same as the Dow year to date. The S&P closed higher. Well, here, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the SPY so you guys can play along as well. SPY had closed higher 13 days from of its open. So it opened, closed above the open price. And so that was 13 days in a row. We mentioned that was a record, posted that there for you, or shared that yesterday with you, that the streaks of having double-digit opens to closes that were positive, actually, that's a record, 13 days. That comes to an end today because we closed down just a little bit there. So we just showed all the different days there so you can kind of get a feel for just how extended this market really is. If you're looking at the S&P 500, little pullback is more than welcome, right? After having so many days just trucking along looking good. If you look at the Russell, I believe that's your best performing index here today. It's up 14.5% year to date. Today it's going to be partially due to GameStop, up 18% on the day. Where'd that go? Just out, not in the news anymore, but GameStop up 18%. They're doing a fancy balance sheet sort of thing. They issued stock and raised a bunch of money. Now they're calling back some of their notes or some of their debt that was at a double-digit cost to them, really. So they're taking essentially free money that they raised from giving away more equity and taking that off their balance sheet, so that stock was a little bit higher. I think a lot of people thought that it's probably, a little long overdue there, but they got it done. Going to earnings here real quick. We've got the three big banks that we've been talking about. JP Morgan's first was down about 2%. It did beat on earnings by $1.56. Revenues were stronger than expected. Here's how it breaks down for you if you're interested. Investment banking fees you're going to find was great for a lot of these guys here, and that's just due to the number of IPOs that they had been putting out there, the underwriting sort of process that they do for that. They did well. 16% higher than expected. That was thanks to IPOs there. Trading revenues up 42% compared to this time last year. In layman's terms, the reason the stock was lower on the day by about 2% is that there's a little bit of a problem at JP Morgan. Deposits are up almost 25%, but loans and credit card balances are down. So Jamie Dimon, actually the CEO, was saying people have cash that they're willing to spend, but they're not spending it. They're not taking loans. They're not taking credit cards there. Loans and credit card balances down 4%. I'm sorry, loans were down 4%. Credit card balances down 14% compared to this time last year. In short, what that tells you is expect to see Chase get more competitive with their loan offerings, right? More commercials, more stuff out there. They need to get some money loaned because they got a lot of money in the bank, but they don't have anybody to loan it to as compared to this time last year. So that's that one there. If we go over to Goldman Sachs here today, up 2 1/3%, beats on earnings as usual. You know the stats there. I shared those stats with you. Going back to this page here, they beat on earnings 87% of the time, 76% of the times beat on revenue. So nothing different there. They actually killed it. If you were looking deeper into it there, trading revenues up 50%. Their investment banking revenues, because of IPOs and stuff, up 33%. Consumer banking revenues, this is different for Goldman Sachs. They're big into the consumer banking. They're pushing their way towards that with Marcus, the savings accounts, Marcus personal loans. They're going to be getting into more of that, and that's working out. Consumer banking revenues, if you break that out as a segment, up about 32%. They also are seeing higher credit card, loan, and deposit balances, meaning they're attracting those people that want to take out loans. JP Morgan is not doing that. And so that's part of the reason that you saw Goldman Sachs a little bit higher here today without JP Morgan. If we look over at Wells Fargo beats by 40 cents. Revenue's better than expected. Got yourself a little bit of a breakout here. They were kind of reported like JP Morgan. They saw lower loan demand. People are not going to Wells Fargo for their loans. However, Wells Fargo and JP Morgan, they killed it on mortgages. So that's where they're doing their business right now. Mortgages looking really, really good there for the two names if you're following along. And Wells Fargo up the best out of all of them today, about 5.53% overall. So that is your earnings breakdown for the day. If we go to the sector breakdown for the day, let's take a look and see what's going on there. There's not a lot to cover again. This week has been kind of a tough one. Usually, there's a lot sort of moving around and there's things jockeying for position throughout the day. You just didn't see that really this week at all. You got energy up 3%. That's your standout today. That's because of oil. Look what oil did here today. A quick reversal on oil, getting outside of that indecision area, finally waking back up. All is happy there. We adjusted some of our funds today to get the most out of some of our oil stocks that we like there. FANG is one of our positions, up 6% on the day. A little rebalance there to make sure we're getting the most and being as efficient as possible with that. It was almost the best stock in the S&P today. Freeport-McMoRan was the best there. If you're looking through energy stocks, you're going to find they all really had a great day today. National Oil Well, although it's been kind of boring, did well with almost a 6% gain. EOG Resources nearing new highs there. Occidental Petroleum, a popular one, back over the $25 number. And Apache, Schlumberger, Halliburton, the rest of them all waking back up after being a little bit quiet, uneventful, not very exciting. Look to the bottom of your list here. You got tech and communication services. That's not good. I'll just go over to tech so you can see. You had a great run in tech. Here's the sort of daily chart over the last couple months to show you the big boost that it's had over the last couple weeks. You got a little bit of a pullback there, not too bad. The extended FANG names, that's where all the action was in terms of the pullback. If I go to contributions, we look at Apple, we include Microsoft in the FANG space there. Those are your biggest drags on the sector here today. We've been talking about the FANG names. I started a couple weeks ago in our Notes from Jazz email there to say this is a new phase in the stock market. I went through explaining how FANG was actually beating the S&P and just starting to take off. And so we hadn't seen that in a while. That was something that just wasn't part of the action. It wasn't part of what was going on in the market, but now we're starting to see that was getting extended. It's okay. They pull back a little bit. Maybe we go on for round 2 here, but that's pretty much where we're at. They got extended, excited. People take their profits in the short term. Not a big deal there. If we go over to the tech sector here again, what you're going to see is you have over the last 1 month, what are your best performers? Lam Research. If I click on it, just so you can see, Lam Research is a semiconductor. If we look over here, you got the industry semiconductor. Look at the rest of them, all up here in as far as all of them besides Enphase. You got all of them up here as the best performers over the last month. What were the weakest ones here today? The same thing. See all the semiconductors? If I just click on CLAC as one of the semiconductors to kind of highlight on the bubble chart up there, I'm pointing as if you can see me. You've got all of them as the weakest ones today. That's your profit taking. That's not a bad thing. That semiconductors got a little too excited there, just deciding to pull back there. If we go to communication services, you got Facebook, Netflix, and others were the weakest on the day, pulling back that sector overall. Those are your biggest drags. You got Twitter in there as well. is one of the bigger drags overall. These are, they all had good moves. It's fine that they all pull back just a little bit. Towards the top of the list, you got Disney. So Disney's been a bit of a snoozer here lately. If you want to take a look and see how it's been moving sideways, sort of looked like oil there for a minute. Moving sideways, not a whole lot going on, but now maybe it's waking back up again as we start to get towards their earnings season there. And since we're talking about earning Disney, you've got your fun fact about Disney, which I'll focus on Animal Kingdom here today. If you go to Animal Kingdom, that's the fourth park that they have there. There's Dinosaur Land. Really cool ride called Dinosaur Encounter or something. It's just called Dinosaur. It's a great ride. One of my favorites there. Anyways, you go down this area where there's Dinosaur Land, but it kind of looks like a circus. The theme there, they're trying to tell you a story. Disney's always trying to tell you a story. When you go into it, you see something called Diggs Gas Station. And Diggs Gas Station is supposed to be based in the 40s, where it's just a small town that has this little gas station there. They're doing their own thing. All of a sudden, some archaeologists come along, start digging up dinosaur bones, and it becomes this cool central place for like people to dig up bones. And so Diggs County, the town, decides that we're going to participate in that. We're going to put up a big flag, look above Diggs Gas Station. You can see the sort of dinosaur attraction. They turn it into a tourist shop. All of a sudden, they put up carnival rides and everything to attract people to their towns. Kind of an interesting story if you're ever there, and that is your fun fact of the day for Disney. Did you like that one?
That was good. I've noticed you point out that every ride is one of your favorites.
Every ride's one of my favorites, yeah. Well, but that dinosaur one's really good.
They're all pretty good, though.
They're all okay, but that's a good one. That's for Disney. That's a good one. I have a good time on that one. I go right to that one.
That was a good fun fact.
And the wait is not bad either if you're ever going to go wait for those rides. All right, moving back over here. Other than that, sector-wise, not a whole lot going on. I'll point out materials as the second best performer there. That's going to be because of Freeport-McMoRan. That was your best performer in the S&P 500 today. FCX is a little bit higher. There's a bit of a supply decline in iron ore, which boosted that stock up 8.3% on the day. Also, you got CF Industries. These are like, what do you call them? Nitrogen-based fertilizers, hydrogen, things like that. That's the phone. And so those got a boost as well. Those were your two big leaders in that space. Not often an exciting area to look, but they came in second place here today. And with that, we'll move on to the new highs of the day. We've got 68 new highs on the day, so let's take a look and see what we have. Sorry, I typed it wrong there. Booking Holdings hits new 52-week highs, looking pretty good there. We happen to own it, so we're excited to see that. Did a little rebalancing today to get that, of course, back up to speed. You got Home Depot hitting new highs. That sucks, man. Giving Cody a hard time as far as the trade goes there. Let's do something fun here real quick. If I go over here, and we just click to this guy here. Let's see, Home Depot is up about 17% in the last 30 days. So how often, we're using our tool that's available in the research site there, how often does a 17% gain, or what happens after that, right? So in a 30-day window, any 30-day window, let's look back 30 years, let's see. Is that odd for Home Depot to do that? And if so, what happens next? So anytime Home Depot gains more than 17% in a 30-day window, we want to know what happens looking back over 30 years. Oh, this is not good. It's not good for you, man. Forward stats, the average gain is 3.7%, median 2.8. It's positive 70% of the time over the next 30 days. So if you want to be a contrarian on Home Depot, going to be a little bit of a rough ride. Here is all the performance as far as when it gained more than 17%. We also show what happened the 30 days prior, so you get a feel for whether that was a bounce off lows or a little momentum. And then we show the next 30 days and calculate our stats over here based on that. So Home Depot, a little bit extended, and there is not much there statistically to offer the possibility for a pullback, but of course we hope it does pull back. If we look at other names on the list here today, you got Everest. This is like a reinsurer. I think they're based in the Bahamas or something like that. Possible little breakout there. I thought that was pretty cool. Looks kind of interesting there. It's a slow mover if you're paying attention, even for being so expensive. It can be a snoozer. You got Moody's. I think this is more of a pullback idea. So Moody's 7% in the last 30 days. That's nothing odd. It just looks a little extended to me. If you could get a small pullback towards the 300 number, maybe that's something you want to look at. And Transdigm, like the cereal. I think about that every time. Can you dig them? Transdigm here, breaking out of this sideways range, a little pricey. So this range looks a little more compressed than it really is. If I were to just kind of zoom out, you get a better feel for, or zoom in, get a better feel for those equal highs, breaking above the $600 number, and so maybe that's something you're interested in. There are no new lows once again, so that's what you have there. Let's move on to stocks in the news. All right, first up, Lovesac. I got to talk about it, man. The little 13-year-old in me wants to talk about Lovesac. So that was the earnings from the other day where I couldn't stop myself from laughing. The stock was down about 5.25% today. They beat by 77 cents, earnings beat. Revenues were better than expected as well. I think they got a handful of upgrades as well. Looks like just kind of a sell on the news thing. I don't see anything too bad on the surface here. I don't follow it all that often, but a lot of options trading going on in there, so that could manipulate things a little bit. And they did just get an upgrade to $80 from $50. So that's what's going on with Lovesac for the day. Altria in the news. Bloomberg says that Juul is once again under a little bit of scrutiny there for targeting teenagers. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I know they've been through some issues in the past when they bought them. So Juul, the e-vapor cigarette thingy, under a little bit of pressure. How do you market those? Is that right? All right, Pfizer. Pfizer says, hey, we could speed up our deliveries here. We can increase our deliveries by 10% between now and the end of May. That's convenient. Isn't that kind of convenient? Right there, you have these problems with Johnson & Johnson. They're like, hey, we can actually pump out a little bit more. We didn't think we could, but now turns out we can pump out a little bit more, so maybe we'll do that. Bed Bath & Beyond, we said that was one of the bigger names reporting earnings today. Didn't make a lot of headlines, but down 12% on the day. They beat by 9 cents. Revenues came in weaker than expected, and I believe they did lower their guidance going forward. They did. They did lower guidance going forward, so a little bit of a punishment there for Bed Bath & Beyond. Discovery down a little bit more, down 5% here. Credit Suisse says they're still working on selling shares from that hedge fund, Archegos blow up there. They got about 40 million more shares to go, and it looks like they were at it here today. Traded 10 million shares today, which is well above average there. Also, we can't leave today without talking about coin. Do you like your Coinbase there? Started off strong. Everybody got excited. Gets over $400. Closes at $320. That's volatility. There you go. There's a little lesson on now. Just be careful with this one. It's a trade. I don't look at IPOs. I don't like looking at them for the first 200 days here. But at this price, well, really where it opened today, you got about $100 and some billion valuation. That's bigger. That would be bigger than General Motors, Micron, Goldman Sachs even. It would be bigger than them. So careful what you're looking at. At this price, you are paying for what they call operational excellence and no competition. So you're paying for, essentially, an easy way to say it is every single person that has a cell phone would be a Coinbase user. Think about how many people have cell phones. Can they attract that many clients or that many customers overall? You're also paying for them to be able to hold on to their transaction fee. I think it's 1.2, 1.4%. That's not going to happen. More competition will bring that cost down, something the government should probably learn a little bit. There's my jab for the day. You're also paying at this price for there to be no competition. You know there will be competition. Also, if you're going to really start using these different coins to physically buy stuff, what do you need an exchange for? PayPal, Square, Tesla, Visa, MasterCard, they're all working this out so you can do this through them and you don't need to go through Coinbase. So careful before you get too excited on a name like this. And finally, I'll wrap it up with, anybody know who Bernie Madoff is? Surely you do. Yeah, Bernie Madoff. He died. I believe he died overnight. So Bernie Madoff, the Ponzi scheme legend, something like $82 billion. No, he was 82 years old. Well more than 82 billion. He passed away in prison, probably like he should have for doing what he did. So that is that. I think we've covered it all. We will wrap it up there. We'll be back tomorrow to do this live, of course, as we normally do. Hope you enjoyed the show. I really appreciate you guys supporting us in all the subscriptions and everything. We really enjoy it. Those of you that have joined the research site, so much more to come there. So we're excited with that. And yeah, that's basically all I got. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.